Hey guys, it's 681 Child. Welcome to my review of episode 20 of Bungou Stray Dogs. Now, for those of you who have not seen the episode, and this is definitely a very hype episode, and I will get into that in just a moment, but if you haven't seen it, be sure to go down to the description below to the Kiss Anime link that I have there to watch the episode as well as the rest of the series, because it's really getting hype now. That's just really all I can say to put it into the most simplest form without like ranting and going on tangents about it. But to kick things off here, we start the episode right where we left off, um, where Kyouka had stepped up to save Atsushi when Fitz was going to take Atsushi, and Kyouka does like the most savage thing that she's done. Like she introduced her name. She runs in and uses a knife to kind of slice Fitz's throat, which is absolutely crazy. And he has the whole thing. He's like, how barbaric is this nation for such a young girl to be like this? And then as he's like lamenting like that in his mind, Kyoko's able to take Atsushi away, and then she said that she called the police so that the guild could have a harder time and stuff like that. But then when the police got there, they realized that Kyouka may be the same girl that they were looking for with all the murder cases from the Port Mafia, which of course she is. And Kyouka ends up just going and stabbing him, Atsushi of course reprimands her, but she thought that was the only thing she could do. And then you have them running away, but then the guild stops them, Fitz and then Herman. And Herman is a good member we haven't seen yet, and we haven't seen him do anything yet. But his ability, I think his ability is that he basically can control this massive invisible ship called the Moby Dick, which of course is a reference to the author Moby Dick, which is pretty cool. But then also, and it's kind of funny because I was thinking about the show actually yesterday, because I am recording this the morning that it came out, because it came out Saturday morning instead of Sunday. I mean not Sunday, Friday afternoon. I was thinking Friday morning. I was just like, I wonder what Mark Twain's gonna do, and we finally see Mark Twain. He's a sniper, and I felt like I don't. This may just be like me overhyping this, but I feel like that was actually an amazing thing to see. It's just amazing to see his ability, and see him being a sniper. His ability is called Huck Finn and Tom Sawyer, which is basically just like we see in later on, that it's just like two it's kind of like the angel devil thing, like in movies, in like the Disney movies and stuff, with like the people on the angel and devil on their shoulders. But it's kind of like that, except like it's not an angel and devil. They like all have the same goals as Mark, but like they're kind of like helpers for him, basically, that kind of thing. But Mark's able to shoot Atsushi and Kyouka with rubber bullets um, to stop them, and then the guild took away Atsushi, and of course they used it in the Moby Dick. And then afterwards you have this really emotional scene of Kyouka just crying, asking why did Atsushi give her hope? Why did he show her the light? He doesn't want it any. She doesn't want it anymore. And of course and then the police, I think it's like the SWAT team, they try to arrest her. And then we have a time lapse of a week, which is interesting for the show. I don't think they really time lapse like that in any other point other than after the Dark Era, to get back to the war. But this is a crazy scene, because we see Q walking around with a new doll, and then he's on this bridge, and and of course he's happy about being outside, because of course he had been locked up for a while, and he sees Lovecraft, and he knows Lovecraft's from the guild, and so he's like, you want to have some fun? And then it was kind of like a father-kid moment where like Lovecraft tried to use like his ability, the Great Old One, to like make the tentacles into like those balloon things, but then like Q didn't like what he made, and then Q of course pushed Lovecraft, which would hurt Q because of the razors, and then Q's just like, show me true madness, but it turns out you can't try to destroy Lovecraft's mind, and they end up and that actually like it ends up making him able to capture Q, which is going to be very important later on in this episode. We will see why. But then we cut to Hawthorne in the like a hospital type setting, and he's there of course because of the fight with Akutagawa from 2 episodes back, and he's definitely in a not so good condition. But Margaret is in a lot worse condition. She's not dead, which is pretty interesting, but she's in a very critical condition. She may not ever wake up, so she's basically as good as dead in the show. So she's not dead technically, but in reality, she's not going to do much in the show. But Hawthorne, says that he no longer Hawthorne says he'll no longer depend on Fitz, and he's going to take back Margaret's honor himself. So it's kind of like Hawthorne is kind of breaking away from the guild, which is really interesting. I really like how they did that scene. And then Francis gets triggered by this, and he decides to go with their emergency plan, which is absolutely crazy, which is why they have Q. And basically what they do, they take John Steinbeck's ability, the Grapes of Wrath, to make all those grapevines. They wrapped Q in it, so he would constantly be getting hurt. And then he connects it with all the trees, like in the entire city of Yokohama. And so and Francis has, I mean not Francis, I keep wanting to call him Francis, but it's easier to say Fitz. Fitz has the doll to he has the doll to trigger the ability, and so if he's so basically their whole plan is to infect as many people as possible in the city, and then just basically like total anarchy, total chaos. And when he's telling Atsushi this, a familiar face walks into the room. If you remember from episode 12, when the guild was first introduced, there was a fight between Atsushi, Tanizaki, and Mori, the boss of the Port Mafia, versus a girl named Lucy, and then like her puppet in like her puppet room or whatever it was called. I don't remember exactly what it was called, but that's like what it generally looked like. But she's basically a maid in this, which is really interesting. They have her as a maid, and then which is kind of like a minor detail, but it's interesting. But it's revealed to us that Fitz is in search of a book. There's only one copy in the world, and it's in Yokohama. And he caught Atsushi because Atsushi is literally the guide to finding that book. And he captured it because he couldn't have Atsushi dying along with everyone else in the city after they ripped the doll. And so then you have like a really and of course they explain the plan as I have, where they're gonna just like completely destroy the city with Q and Steinbeck's ability, and so this really like a crazy cynical scene with Steinbeck and Q. So of course Q, because he's like trapped in the situation. Plus he's a kid. He's just like he's crying. He's like, why was I given this ability? And then John was like, let me tell you the truth. God exists, but he doesn't love you. That was just whoa. Just calm down, Steinbeck. And then Q starts like yelling and stuff, which triggers the doll to start laughing, and all the scars are showing of the people who are going to get infected. And then Atsushi tries to save everyone by saying he surrenders and that the agency and the guild could form an alliance. And Fitz was like, that's an interesting proposal. We can do that, only with the survivors. And he rips the head of the doll off. He just rips the head of the doll. He like kind of rips the doll a bit to start the curse, and everything just goes crazy. But and then of course Fitz has Atsushi in a cell just so he doesn't try to get out and stuff. But turns out after a conversation with Lucy, she decides to help him get out because it turns out that they've gone through the same type of life, and she was able to help him get out by using her room, and then by letting them out, and she could let him out, and she had a parachute for him in there because she had one for herself just if she needed to escape. And I think they finally made like buddy with each other. She told Atsushi to live and then save her from this place someday, and that she'll be waiting for him, which is a nice thing to see. But then of course Atsushi escapes. He's falling down, and then we got the sniper Mark trying to hit him. He misses the first shot, but then the second shot gets Atsushi's parachute, which knocks him down. And of course, and then Atsushi, there's kind of like an internalization with the tiger, and he's just like you despise me, don't? He's like, you despise me, don't you? The tiger. They're having a kind of like a conversation, but the tiger just like tries to rip his face off, and then he pets it, and then they become basically like one with each other. And then he becomes full tiger to survive the fall, and then he of course switches back. And there's a cool scene of Atsushi trying to dodge these shots from Mark in the Moby Dick. And then Mark eventually does a very strategic move, which is to hit an oil truck and to blow Atsushi away, where Atsushi would be damaged, and of course the guild would probably be able to go get him. And Atsushi's trying to get to the doll so he can bring the doll to Dazai, because that's the whole reason for Atsushi escaping and going down to the city, because he needs to find Dazai to end the curse. And as Atsushi's just like trying to struggle his way forward on the ground, Dazai just starts walking up to the doll. You see Dazai walking up to the doll, and he says, "You win, Atsushi." And then he planted all these like sensor breakers, these like sensor jammer things, so that they couldn't do anything for the city. But it's funny because a lot of people, when they lose like that, they would be very pessimistic about it, things like that. But Mark is the kind of guy who would laugh about that, and that's a good thing to his personality. But we end the episode off with Atsushi telling Dazai that he has an idea for the agency to make an alliance with the strongest organization who is trying to protect Yokohama, which is the Port Mafia. And then the episode ends right there. So this is definitely a crazy episode. Let me know what you guys thought in the comments section below. I really do like seeing what other people think, other than myself. But it's definitely gonna get really good. We only have 4 episodes left, which is really sad. But we're just gonna have to live on with it. And if there's more in the manga after the anime, I'm definitely gonna bring that to the channel, because this is just getting really good. But thank you all for watching this review. I hope you all enjoyed it. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe, and share this video, and I will see you all next time.